Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. If you're new around here, thanks for stopping by. My name's Tolu, and on this channel I share content all around personal finance, budgeting, frugal living, and I show you how to live your best life on a budget. If you're a returning subscriber, thanks for coming back to watch another video. Okay, so let's get into it. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing a review on a book that I should have done a long time ago. This book is literally the book that transformed my finances, changed my life completely, and is literally one of the reasons why you're here watching this video today, because if it wasn't for this book, I wouldn't even be on YouTube. I wouldn't be creating the content in which I'm creating today. So this book is definitely top of my recommendations of finance books that you definitely need to read. I'm actually going to be sharing another video soon where I share my favorite 5 personal finance books. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, you're definitely going to want to subscribe so that you know when that video is released, because those 5 books, let me tell you, they're literally going to transform your finances for the better if you read them and apply what the books actually say. Because obviously it's one thing reading the books, but if you don't apply what the books are telling you to do, then you're not going to experience any of the benefits from the book. The book I'm talking about is The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. If you've been around my channel for any length of time, you're going to know how much of a Dave Ramsey fan I am and how much I've spoken about him in the past on my videos. I did a book review on my channel of a book that he did with his daughter Rachel Cruz called Smart Money, Smart Kids, another amazing book. If you haven't seen that book review, I'll link it up here so that you can watch it. But this book I'm going to be talking about, Total Money Makeover, is the book that my husband and I read 4 years ago, and it literally transformed our finances and changed our relationship with money for the better. So in today's video, what I'm going to be doing is basically talking to you about the book called The Total Money Makeover, what I liked about the book so much, what I learned from it. In a nutshell, it's an amazing book. I'm going to dive into it in a lot more detail. If you're into financial education or have done any kind of research online about personal finance, paying off debt, how to break the paycheck to paycheck cycle, then you've probably come across Dave Ramsey before. You've probably heard his name. But just in case you don't know who Dave Ramsey is, he's a financial guru and he's an American TV host and presenter. He has his own show called The Dave Ramsey Show. He's helped thousands of families all around the world pay off their debt using his 7 baby steps, which he outlines in the book, The Total Money Makeover. He's also a Christian, so a lot of the principles that he teaches when it comes to personal finance, he uses biblical principles in his teachings as well. In his book, The Total Money Makeover, Dave Ramsey basically outlines the 7 baby steps in which you can follow in order to achieve debt freedom. At the start of the book, Dave Ramsey talks about his own financial journey. He talks about how he was a millionaire in his early 20s and then he became bankrupt and lost it all. He was then able to become a millionaire, and this time, the second time around, he didn't lose his wealth, he didn't lose his millions. In fact, he's still a millionaire today as we speak. In the book, he goes on to talk about how a lot of us just live our life in autopilot. So we just do things without necessarily thinking about what we're doing and why we're doing it. And he explains that it's only when things go to pot that we start to think about what we're actually doing. It's only when things go wrong and things are not in our favor anymore that we stop to think about what we're doing and consider our actions. He goes on to explain that a lot of people just think that this is life and this is how life is supposed to be, and I'm just going to struggle for the rest of my life because that's the hand that I've been dealt. You see everyone else doing it and living their life in that way, so we think that that's just normal and that's just the status quo that we have to follow. He explains that just because everyone else is doing it and everyone around you is living paycheck to paycheck, that doesn't mean that that's something that you need to continue to do. You can actually break that paycheck to paycheck cycle. It gets to a stage where we need to face that situation head on, because it's fine when you're living paycheck to paycheck when the paycheck is still coming in, but at that moment when that paycheck no longer comes, then what do? It's at that point now you're at a crossroad and you have to decide what route you want to take. Are you going to continue down that path, which is obviously spiraling out of control, or are you going to detour and actually go on another path and transform your finances for the better? Before diving into the baby steps, the first thing that he says you need to do is create a budget. Get a clear picture of your finances, where all your money's going and where you are right now. So once you have a clear picture of your finances, you're then in a position to proceed on to the baby steps. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the baby steps because I don't want to spoil the book for you. You can read it all in more detail in the book. But the 7 baby steps that he outlines are as follows. First step he mentions is to build a starter emergency fund of $1,000. So that $1,000 emergency fund is a starter emergency fund to cover you in the event that the worst happens or something unforeseen arises in which you need to pay for. And that $1,000, he says, needs to be saved very quick. The second step is to then pay off all your debt. And the method in which he suggests to pay off your debt is the debt snowball method. That's the method where you list all of your debts in order from the smallest amount to the largest amount, and then you tackle the smallest amount first, and then you pay minimum payments on all the rest of them. So the smallest debt, you're going to pay as much as you can off of it, and then the other ones you're going to do minimum payments. And when you've paid off the smallest debt, you move on to the second smallest debt, then you put the largest amount towards that one, and then the minimum payments on all the rest, and then you keep doing that that process until you've paid off all of your debt. The step 3 is to then build 3 to 6 months emergency fund. So you're basically going to bulk up that first emergency fund that you had started to build in step 1. In step 3, you're going to build a bigger emergency fund so that you're more secure and your foundation is stronger. The 4th step, he says, is for you to start saving towards retirement. The 5th step is for you to save for your children's college. The 6th step is for you to pay off your home early. And then the 7th step is for you to start building wealth and enjoying the fruits of your labor. So those are the 7 baby steps in a nutshell. There was so much that I loved about the book, but for the sake of time and not to bore you guys, I'm just going to tell you 4 of the things that I really liked about the book. The first thing I like is that he's coming from a place of experience. There's nothing worse than somebody saying, do as I say and not as I do. So they're telling you to do one thing and they're doing something totally different. Or they haven't walked a mile in your shoes and they're just telling you something just for the sake of it because it sounds good on paper. I love the fact that he's coming from a place of experience. The guy's been a millionaire, lost it and rebought it again and been able to keep it the second time around. He's obviously done something right the second time around, and I really appreciated in the book the way he was so transparent about his story and his situation. He was just so real and relatable in his delivery. Another thing that I love about the book is all the testimonials of people that have been able to become debt free and have achieved financial freedom by following his baby steps. There's something about somebody else validating something that gives it more authority and makes it seem more authentic. Another thing that I love about the book is the real life examples that he gives throughout the book. So throughout the book he gives example after example of different people that have followed the baby steps and the impact that it's had on their lives and the way they've been able to transform their finances. And it's good because you can insert yourself into the story and you can think, oh my gosh, okay, that person's situation is very similar to mine and they've been able to pay off their debt, they've been able to achieve financial freedom. That means I can do it too. And it's just that reassurance to know that, okay, these other people have gone before me and they've done it successfully. That means I'll be able to do it too if I just follow the steps. Another thing that I liked about the book is that it's so easy to read and it's so clearly formatted. It's so straight to the point. The steps are just so clear to follow, so there's no excuse not to be able to achieve it. All you need to do is apply what he says, apply the principles and follow the steps, and you'll be able to achieve your desired outcome. So I really like that about the book. It wasn't wishy-washy, it wasn't full of waffle, it was just straight to the point, giving you the facts and information that you need in order for you to reach your financial goal. Another thing that I appreciated so much about the book is that he's not selling you no dreams. He's not selling you a dream. He's not telling you just do this and you're going to be a millionaire tomorrow. Just do that and you're going to retire at 35. Like, he doesn't do it like that at all in the book. It's not one of those get rich quick books. He lets you know from the outset that, listen, this book is not for the faint-hearted. This road that you're about to step down is not going to be easy and you're going to want to turn back at times. So he just gives you the real of it in the book. He lets you know that these steps, I'm not telling you are easy, but I'm telling you they're going to work if you follow them. So I really appreciated that in the book. Tough love is sometimes what we need, and he definitely gives it to you in bucket loads. He just lets you know that it's not going to be an overnight thing. You're not just going to tomorrow be debt free and achieve all your financial goals. No, it's going to take consistent effort over a sustained period of time for you to reach that destination. But he lets you know in the book that it is doable. And obviously, like I mentioned before, the testimonials of people that have done that is proof in the pudding. It shows that it can be done if you're willing to commit to the process. So I really appreciated that about the book. Okay, so now moving on to things that I didn't like about the book. There weren't that many, but with everything, nothing in life is perfect. So there were a few things that I would say I disliked about the book. So a couple of them were, as much as I said he loves to give you the real, sometimes it's a bit painful. Tough love hurts, isn't it? So there were times when I was just like, okay, thank you, Dave, I get it, like, leave me alone. So there were times in the book that I was just annoyed at him, but it was good at the same time because it's like, no, I actually needed to hear these words. I needed him to tell me how silly I've been and how many times I've paid stupid tax because of my inability to control my spending. The baby steps, like I said, are quite simplistic and they're simple to follow. So he pretty much explains the baby step at the beginning of every chapter. Then he spends the rest of the chapter really hammering home that point, to the point that you're like, okay, Dave, I get it. Like, I get it. Leave me now. But at the same time, I guess it's good because sometimes you do need that repetition. You do need to hear things over and over again for it to actually stick with you. But when it's things that you don't want to hear, hearing it over and over again can just be frustrating. So that was another thing that I would say I didn't like about the book. But I guess it was a good thing because it helped me to follow the steps in order for me to become debt free. The last thing I'd say I didn't like about the book, and it's not really a critique to the book per se, because at the end of the day the book wasn't made for a UK reader. He's from America, so obviously he's made the book relevant for people in America, but obviously for me in the UK there were parts of the book that was like, okay, that doesn't really apply or doesn't convert easily. So the last 3 of the steps weren't as applicable in the UK. So for example, in baby step 4 he advises you to pay off all your student loans, and I know that's because in America student loans are so expensive, the interest is crazy on them, whereas in the UK student loan is just like another tax for us, so we don't need to pay it off in the same way. It even gets written off after 30 years if we're not hitting the threshold. So there were certain things that didn't translate as easily in the UK. To conclude, if you're interested in having a total money makeover and you really don't know where to get started, but you want to get your finances in order and on track, then I definitely think that Total Money Makeover is a fantastic starting point and a fantastic reference point to see if those are steps that you want to follow on your financial journey. I know everyone's journey is different and not everything works for everybody. Just because his method of becoming debt-free worked for me, it might not necessarily work for you, but it's definitely worth having a read if you are in debt and you want to get out of debt. It may be the formula that you need in order to help you on your debt-free journey. Overall, all in all, like, I can't really fault the book that much because it was a really good book, and as I mentioned, it's the book that literally transformed our finances for us, and it just opened our minds and opened us to a different way of thinking when it comes to personal finances. His way of life isn't the norm at all. He doesn't follow the status quo, and a lot of the things that he preaches or he talks about, a lot of people just think he's over the top and extreme, and to a certain extent I can agree, because some of the things he does say is a little bit like, okay Dave, like, just relax. But at the same time, you can't knock him, you can't fault him, because he's been able to help so many people become debt free. He's helped me become debt free. I have a friend as well, she was able to pay off £14,000 worth of debt by following his baby steps too. In fact, I'll link the video up here of when I had an interview with her and her husband, and they talked all about how Dave Ramsey helped them on their debt free journey too. So it just goes to show that what he's teaching works, and it's helping and transforming people's lives all across the world. So yeah, it's definitely a great book. It's definitely helped me so much, and I don't know why it's taken me so long to do this video, but I'm happy I've finally done it, because yeah, it literally helped us so much with our finances, and it still helps us to today, because even though I read this book over 4 years ago, the principles in which I took away from it is still helping me today when it comes to managing my money. Things that I would waste money on before, I don't do that anymore. The relationship I have with money has changed for the better. I now have clear financial goals, I now have clear financial plans. I know where I'm going when it comes to my finances, and I'm not swayed by what everybody else around me is doing. And that definitely in a large part can be attributed to that book, Total Money Makeover. So if I haven't sold it to you yet, then I don't know, but it's definitely a worthwhile read. If you've read the book Total Money Makeover, let me know in the comment section below what you think of it. Are you a Dave Ramsey fan? Are you not a Dave Ramsey fan? What do you think of his book? What do you think about his financial teachings? It'll be good to hear what you guys think in the comment section below. But that's literally it for this video, guys. So if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet done so, share this video with a friend or family member, and I will see you tomorrow for another video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.